Good morning, all you beautiful people, and welcome to your basic guide to operant conditioning. I know what you're all thinking. What is operant conditioning? So let's get started. Operant conditioning is the learning of voluntary behavior through the effects of pleasant and unpleasant consequences to responses. What are you talking about? Guys, we're talking about something simple. We're talking about, you know, that moment when Danny Tanner speaks to DJ about what she's done wrong and how she feels guilty about what she's done and how she won't ever do it again. Or, how Angelica from Rugrats gets the cookie every single time, even though she's a little brat. Let's face it, all these actions that are occurring because of parents encouraging their children to do certain actions, that's all a result of reinforcement. What is reinforcement? It's any kind of event or stimulus that, when following a response, increases the probability that the response will occur again. Every time Fido plays dead and you give him a treat, that is a type of primary reinforcer. A primary reinforcer meets one of the basic needs of hunger, thirst, or touch. The next type of reinforcer is a secondary reinforcer. A secondary reinforcer is any reinforcer that becomes reinforcing after being paired with the primary reinforcer, such as praise, tokens, or gold stars. So just think back to the time when you were little and all that mattered in the world was all the gold stars and who had the most. Negative reinforcement is the reinforcement of a response by the removal, escape from, or avoidance of an unpleasant stimulus. An example of this would be lying to your parents so that you don't get yelled at. On the other view of things, positive reinforcement is the reinforcement of a response by the addition or experiencing of a pleasurable stimulus. An example of this would be giving your puppy a treat when they come inside. Now that we've got our reinforcers down, let's move on to punishments. The first one we're going to talk about is punishment by application. Punishment by application is the punishment of a response by the addition or experiencing of an unpleasant stimulus. In this picture, it's obvious that the dog is experiencing some punishment by application. The owner is yelling at that dog because, obviously he's, decided to TP the house. There's another type of punishment, though. This type of punishment is referred to as punishment by removal. Punishment by removal is the punishment of a response by the removal of a pleasurable stimulus. This method is preferred. An example of this is having to give up your car for staying out too late. Now that you've learned all the types of reinforcers and punishments, let's review. A primary reinforcer meets the basic need of an organism. Just remember, that dog that needed food, he took that bacon when you asked him to play dead. A secondary reinforcer is paired with the primary reinforcer and helps you be encouraged, like the gold stars in kindergarten. A positive reinforcer is an addition or experience of a pleasurable stimulus. The example for this was giving your puppy a treat when they came inside. A negative reinforcer is the removal, escape from, or avoidance of an unpleasant stimulus. The example we gave for this was lying to your parents so you wouldn't get yelled at. Punishment by application is the punishment of a response by the addition or experiencing of an unpleasant stimulus. The example we gave for this was the owner yelling at her dog. And finally, punishment by removal. Punishment by removal is the punishment of a response by the removal of a pleasurable stimulus. The example we gave for this was having your keys taken away when you stay out too late. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you learn more about operant conditioning.